Hello everyone and welcome on day 7 of Admin of Cyber. So today's task is going to be focusing on log analysis. Let's move to the challenge. First of all, you need to start the machine. You just click this button over here. I already did it. This is my IP address for the machine. If we go down here, we can see the first question. How many unique IP addresses are connected to the proxy server? So we start the machine. We open the terminal. As you can see, we have a folder over here called artifacts. We need to access this folder, desktop, artifacts, ls, and as you can see, we have an access.log file over here. This access.log file is basically a log of the proxy server. So we're going to be able to see different requests from the clients of this proxy server. So let's do head 1 access.log. You can see that we have a timestamp, an IP address, a domain, a port, and the request. Basically, if we do in this case it was connect. If we do 2, you can see that we have a get request with a status code 301. So what we need to do to answer this question, how many unique IP addresses are connected to the proxy server? We need to get all the IP addresses that are unique in this file. How are we going to do this? We're going to use cut. Cut allows us to take each space, let's say space separated value. So we're going to use space as a delimiter. So -d is for delimiter, and the delimiter here is going to be the space. So after that, we need to do -f and specify the position of the space. So if we do 2, we're going to take not the first one, but the second space over here. And that's why we're taking the IP, because we're taking the value before the space. If we do this, and then we do, basically I'm just going to show you what's the result of this one first. Das n2. I'm sorry, I didn't specify the file. You also need to specify all the file. And as you can see, we get the first 2 IP addresses. Now, after we do this, we're gonna need to sort the file, the results of this command, of the cut command, and then we're gonna do unique. And after we do sort and unique, we get all the unique IP addresses that access the proxy server. So in this case, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But in case there were more, you could easily do another pipeline here and say wc-l. What this is going to do is going to count how many lines were printed on terminal. In this case, 9, but it could be even more. So it's useful to use wc-l so you don't have to count manually. So if we go here and we type 9, this is the correct answer. How many unique domains were accessed by all workstations? This is the second question. To be able to say how many unique domains were accessed by all workstations, we need to take the space again, the space delimiter again. But in this case, we're not taking the IP space, but we're taking the third space, which is the domain or domain port space, let's say. In this case is the third one. If we take the third one and we do free access.log, then sort, we're gonna sort it, and then what we're gonna do unique. So if we do sort unique, I'm sorry, I put another pipeline here, unique. These are all the unique domains with their ports. If you want to cut the ports out, you can do another pipeline here, cut, again, delimiter, but in this case, you're not using the space delimiter, you're going to use the column delimiter because we want to separate by the column. So we're going to say position 1, because we want to take what's before the column and not after the column. So position 1 and sort unique. After we do this, we get all the unique domains. Now we need to count this, so we're going to use WC again, das L. If we want to do this manually, it would take more time because, as you can see, there are 111 results. So we would need to count 111 domains, which is a lot. Now we type 111 over here, and that's the correct answer. So what status code is generated by the HTTP request to the least access domain? So we need to find which is the least access domain first. To be able to do this, there is a nice feature in the uniq command. So not only it sorts the file and then it takes the unique values, but if you type uniq-c, it also counts how many times this specific value was mentioned in the file. So if we press enter, you can see that each domain now has a number next to it, and this is the number of how many times this domain was mentioned in the file. To be able to find the least accessed one, we need to do sort again, and instead of doing sort n, which would normally gives us this result, which is just ascending order, and we get like the most accessed one, we would do das n r. This means reverse. So we're gonna take the least accessed domain as the last domain. If you want, alternatively, you can do sort and then you can get the head number 1. So this is again the same result. So now we found the least accessed domain, and the question says, what is the status generated by the HTTP request to the least accessed domain? So we need to find also the status code. To do this, we need to do grep the domain on the file access.log, and then we need to take the first result. And as you can see, we have a request on this domain. We have the timestamp, IP, domain, the port, the request which was get, and the status code of the request was 503. So if we go here, we paste 503, we type 503, and this is the correct answer. This number over here is always going to be the status code of the request. In this case, is 503. So next question, based on the high count of connection attempts, what is the name of the suspicious domain? Let's check over here. As you can see, I'm gonna run again the previous command, and I'm gonna do tail in this case, tail number 10, let's say. What this does, tail gives us the last values of the file, in this case the highest ones. So the highest access domain is www.office.com, but in this case we need the suspicious one. As you can see, the most suspicious and high access domain is frostlinks.bigbadstash.thm, and this is the reason why it's suspicious, because there is a thm suffix. So we're gonna take this one and we're gonna paste it here, and as you can see, this is the most suspicious domain, and this is basically the suspicious domain that we were looking for. So what is the source IP of the workstation that accesses the malicious domain? Now what we need to do, we need to find which IP accessed this domain. So I'm gonna clear here. I'm gonna do grep find the domain, this specific domain, on the file access.log, and I want you to give me the first value. So as you can see, the IP address that accessed this domain was 10.10.185.225. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste it here. And this is always the source IP address that is trying to access the specific domain. So in this case was this IP address that was trying to access the malicious domain. Now, how many requests were made on the malicious domain in total? So what we need to do now, we need to find all the requests that were made on this domain. So let's try to do grep again. Basically, I already have the command, so I'm just gonna do grep the suspicious domain access.log, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna do wc-l, and this is the number of the requests that were made on this domain, 1581. We copy this, paste, submit. So last question, having retrieved the exfiltrated data, what is the hidden flag? So first of all, what is the exfiltrated data? The exfiltrated data in this case is going to be, let me show you grep. We need the domain, the malicious domain. I'm gonna grab it from here, copy. I can't get it from some reason. Frostlinks dot bigbadstars.thm, bigbadstars.thm. And now if I do head 1, I need to specify the file. You see that we have the timestamp, the IP address, the domain, and we have also the request. And in the request on storage.php, we have a parameter called goodies. In this goodies parameter, the value is a base64 encrypted value. So what we need to do, we need to decrypt this value for each specific, request. To do this, we're gonna need to do grep access.log, and then we're gonna need cat using the delimiter space again. But in this case, we're gonna need the 5th position because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need to get the value before this space. So 5. Then what we need to do, we need to do cat delimiter equals and position 2. The reason why we're doing this is because we only need the value after the equals character. So we put delimiter equals and then position 2 to get what's after the equals character. And since we did this, we also need to do base64 and D. That's D, which stands for decryption. So if I hit enter, you can see that I get all the decrypted values that are so many. And what you need to do now to get the flag, since we know that the flag always starts with THM, it's easy to do pipe again, grep, using the value THM. And if we hit enter, we get the flag. So THM, a gift for you, awesome analyst. That was it for today. See you on day 8 of Advent of Cyber 2023.